truth for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and I'm here with Bob Savage in the WYSL studios.
Happy Monday, all.
Yeah. So how was Easter?
It was very nice, very relaxing. Good time was had by all. We made Easter Sunday great again. And the spiral ham and, libations and a good time.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, this year is actually the first year I did one of those spiral cut hams.
Oh, really?
And it was easy. I mean, take it out of the package.
That's the beauty of it.
Pan,
it's just
hit the oven.
Warm. We put ours on one of those 1960s warming trays.
Yeah, there you go.
And it does a great job. Just keeps it warm, and all you do is just put it out there and have people tear it apart.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Both my parents were in food service, and chefs and stuff like that. So growing up, we always kind of did, like complicated meals, and we had a big family, me, my brothers, sisters, and parents. That was 7 people. And then my dad's got 4 brothers and sisters. And, so family get-togethers are always pretty large for us. And so we're always kind of maybe making things more complicated than they need to be, So this is the first year that they did the spiral cut ham, and it was based. My aunt, I think, was like, "Oh, make sure you get a spiral cut ham. It's way easier." And I'm like, "All right, sure, yeah, why not?" And it was way easier. It must have been the easiest I've ever done.
I remember the early editions of that, and it was really an innovation, was there was a company called the Honey Baked Ham Company, and they used to have company stores around, and there was one in Rochester on Ridge Road. Had to go up there and wait in line for the thing, it was like, we're talking like 20 years ago, 25 years ago even. And it was a great thing, but it was worth it. You went up there in the snowy slush, for Christmas dinner or for New Year's, and you wait in line for your spiral cut honey baked ham. And now, of course, Wegmans has got them.
That's right.
Bob D'Angelo and I were talking about the Sunday dinner, and I guess they've got them even at Aldi's. So
there you go. Yeah. So that was a new thing for me. The spiral cut ham. It came out great too. So being that the weekend was a holiday, and I ended up working on Saturday too. So I didn't go through and do a ton of research for you guys, but this morning I saw something that caught my attention. And I think probably most people who listen to this show are already going to sit here and be like, yeah, we already knew this. But it made it in the headlines, and I wanted to bring it up. And the question that comes up often when you're talking to people about gun control is somebody inevitably will be like, does gun control really work? Do criminals actually follow the law? I mean, really, right? And this is, it sounds funny, right?
They seriously ask the question. You're just kidding.
No, I'm being maybe a little sarcastic and facetious here. Yeah. So it looks like yesterday or this morning, a man in Brooklyn killed somebody. Firearms are fairly illegal in New York City. I mean,
widely illegal.
Yeah. I mean, you can't even have a shotgun without it being registered. Nearly impossible unless you're a person of status and have a lot of money to get, any type of handgun in New York City. No, this guy went to the store and bought an axe and basically beheaded somebody and attacked another woman. So two women were attacked. One was killed. The other was sounds like she's going to make it. And I guess the point here is the gun control. The idea of gun control is it's a red herring. You know, it's something that people chase, but they don't realize, like, anything can be a weapon. Anything. And the article made a big point about he had bought this axe so recently, the price tag was still stuck on it when the police got a hold of it. You know, so it was literally sounds like premeditated murder to me. This guy
buying an axe.
I'm thinking so.
I mean, what do you use an axe for in Manhattan? What, to cut down parking meters?
Something. I don't know. You know, but the idea that, you know, that firearm regulation is going to somehow deter criminals is just so absurd. So you look at the situation. This guy went and bought an axe, but he could have just as easily used a kitchen knife. He could have used a hammer, a saw, a sledgehammer, you know,
a car.
Yeah, a car.
A subway track. You know, you shove them in the path of an approaching subway train.
Yep.
So let's ban the subway.
Yeah. So I just bring this up because, you know, you don't always have something like this hit the media where you can point to it as an example. And today just happened to be the day that, somebody decided that they were going to attack somebody in New York City with an axe. So murderers, criminals, they will find a way. The control of access to firearms is not what's going to solve this problem.
Yes, the answer to the question of does gun control really work is, of course, it doesn't work.
Of course not.
It's like, okay, we're gonna solve the DWI problem by banning the sale of cars or by increasing the cost of cars. Everybody knows, if you think about this for 30 seconds, that this is about control of the population. It's not about safety.
No. Well, and it's also about, you know, the people who can afford it being able to purchase access. But those of us who can't afford it, we don't. And that's how it works in New York. You know, if you're in New York City and you want a handgun, if you've got the money, you can get one. You know, you hire an attorney or something like that. If your permit gets denied, you know, to shake down the city, you can get one. But if you're just your average Joe like you or I, you know, who wanted to go to New York City and get a pistol permit to protect ourselves from people who are obviously so ready to kill somebody they'll get an axe to kill somebody. No, we're just commoners. You know, we can't. So it's unequal application of our rights.
Well, it also has to be said that, I mean, even if you purchase that limited amount of access, you're still going to be very restricted in the use of that firearm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be able to concealed carry it around the city.
Yeah,
it's not in most cases.
Well, and that's the thing though. If you have enough money and you can spend it right, you can. You know what I mean?
Really? I mean, you could just you could get a holster and carry.
Yeah, but
in New York,
if you get in trouble, what's going to happen? You've got an army of attorneys. You can afford it. It doesn't matter. You know, and that's how criminal justice works in New York State right now. The thing that, you know, we talk about often is if you can write a 5-figure check to your attorney, chances are you should just accept a plea. You know, if you can write a 6-figure check, you can get away with just about anything. 7 figures, doesn't matter. You do whatever. And if you follow that logic and you look at court cases in New York State, it follows it pretty well. If you've got the money to spend, just to spend, you typically will get away with just about anything in New York.
Yeah, but of course, also in selecting the legal representation to get done what you want to get done, caveat emptor definitely applies, because I'm sure that you could have hired Michael Avenatti for 6 figures.
Sure.
I don't think that would have been.
There's certainly, you know, you got to hire the right guy, but the general idea is if you can outspend, you know, the office, the DA's office or whatever, chances are pretty good you're gonna walk away. So so the other thing that I went to, so I'll tell you guys a little bit about what we're going to talk about in the next segment. We're going to talk about Social Security and the Social Security Administration. And I was actually hoping to get some really cool numbers for you guys to look at, to talk about, to just go through and get to the meats and potatoes, and their website is broken today. So
fancy that.
Yep. So I did actually try to log in, because you can create an account on there and you can log in and you can look at supposedly projections of what you're supposed to get. And so I go to log in. And this is just like so typical of any government service, right? You go to use it, you discover a government service and you go, oh, maybe that's useful. Maybe I would use this, And so you look at it and you go, yeah, let me log into this. And inevitably, 90% of the time I feel, and maybe this is just my personal luck, it doesn't work, it's malfunctioning, the redirects don't work right, so it's just so frustrating. But when we come back after this break, we're going to talk about Rochester has the slowest Social Security Administration office in the state. Nobody's slower. And we'll talk about what Schumer thinks we can do to make it better when we come back here on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Everyone is talking about residual income as a retirement plan. Do you have a residual income plan in place? If not, come to our free seminar on April 25th in Rochester to learn about local residual income opportunities. Go to startrochester.com to sign up for our free seminar. No experience is necessary. Go to startrochester.com and sign up for our free no-obligation seminar. Space is limited to the first 40 people, so sign up now before it fills up. startrochester.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York
on the WYSL station.
All right, guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and just checking out the live stream. Want to welcome you guys to the show. Michelle, Dan, Yolana, Donna. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. Those of you who are listening to the show online, if you don't comment in, I can't always see your name, so make sure you post a comment in there. I'll be sure to give you guys a shout out. Same thing if you're on YouTube or Twitter. And as always, we always welcome call-ins to the show. So if you guys want to call into the show with a question or a comment, you want me to talk about something, pick my brain, that number, if you're outside of the local area, is 866-552 1009. Once again, that's 866-552-1009. And if you guys are local, the number is 585 area code 346-3000. Once again, that's 346-3000. So guys, thank you so much for joining the show. We're talking about the Social Security office and how it made news that Rochester, big surprise, is the slowest one in the state. So my thing is, why is it that nobody's slower than government to begin with, right? You know, if you look at just about anything, government is less efficient. They're slower. They come in over budget constantly. They're never on time. You know, it's a big issue. It is. And my answer to that is it's not their money. So why would they? You know, it's taxpayer money. And something I really want to train you guys to say on air, on the show, you guys who are listening, I want to do away with the term government funded, because government funded kind of masks who's paying for it. So I always want people to say taxpayer funded. So when you talk about a program called a taxpayer funded program, when you're talking about a subsidies, don't just call it a subsidy, say taxpayer funded subsidy. Let's start, bringing this language into conversation so people realize, oh, that's the money that came out of my paycheck. Because a lot of times when people hear government funded, they just think that that's government's money. It's not my money, it's government's money. But really, it's your money, it's my money, it's your neighbor's money, it's all of our money, it's taxpayers' money. So we need to make that distinction first and foremost. So here we are talking about the Social Security Administration. So they found that the Rochester office had the longest average wait times across New York.
Whoops.
And, which is very interesting, I'm not sure how they tracked this, they found they also had the most people give up and leave after waiting in line. So that to me is really interesting. Then this report goes a little bit further, and it says the report found that only 41% of customer phone calls were answered at the Rochester office. 41%, which means 59%. Notice they put 41% were offered because they didn't want to say 59% weren't answered. So that's terrible. And then, as if that wasn't enough, we're ranked number 2 in the nation for an individual to have to receive a benefits hearing. Number 2. So
sort of makes you quietly proud, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. We just win in all the wrong places, Rochester and New York State in general. If there's a race that you're not supposed to win, we are front and center time and time and time again. So, of course, this report comes out, and Senator Schumer decides he's going to weigh in on the situation. And could you guess what he says the problem is? I bet you know.
Donald Trump.
Oh, no. Well, actually, you know what? I don't think he chose that. That's a good one. No. He said, you know what we need? We need more money. That's what he said. He said,
and it's Donald Trump's fault.
Yeah, it's probably.
And the reason we don't have more money is Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. So he's calling for $100 million to be allocated.
100 mil here and there. Of course, we can't have, like a real world solution, like where we go into the Social Security office and we say, look, if you slackers don't start doing the job you're supposed to do so you're a credit to the organization, we're going to fire all of your asses and we're going to get competent people in here. Are we loud and clear on that? Yeah, fix this problem. Have it fixed before the end of the month, please.
Yep. Well, and to that point, I don't even know if they would know how to fix it. They've probably been doing it wrong for so long.
Well, then they get fired.
I think so. If I were to approach this from a business standpoint, and I know some people are like, you can't run government like a business, but guess what? Government's collecting money, government's spending money, happens to be my money that they're collecting. I think it should run a little more efficiently. So I'm okay with the government looking at, we just looked at Rochester being the worst, right? Well, why aren't we looking at the offices in the state and in the country they're running the most efficiently and the best? And let's take those guys and let's build a model off of them, have them come in and train everybody and tell us what we're doing wrong. Let's share this information. Let's make it better. Let's not go, what would fix this? $100 million. That's not an answer. That's not an answer.
It's called throwing money at the problem. And that's a knee-jerk reaction from politicians, particularly politicians who've never had a job in the private sector.
Yeah,
because they don't understand how that works.
Yep. No, it's totally true. And so you look at this and you go, clearly this is being mismanaged. Clearly they think that the answer is just throwing money at it. So you can't help but then wonder, well, how are they managing my money? Right? Because that's really what Social Security is them taking my money with the not even a promise that you're going to get back, just the kind of like you always get something back later if you make it in life. So I started doing some research and I was like, you know what? How much do we as an audience, how much do I really know about Social Security? So this is where I was like, well, let me check out their website.
Well, it's very interesting that you're doing this because you're a millennial, and young people typically don't give any thought to Social Security. You just notice on your pay stub every week that a certain chunk goes away to Social Security, and that's where it goes. Yep. So what does that mean to you guys?
Yeah, well, one of the things that you hear all the time as probably any age, really, you always hear, by the time I'm old enough to collect it, won't be there, right? I think I've heard that from everybody, of all age groups, like my age group, older age groups, younger age groups. So it's kind of funny because a lot of people are like, I'm paying into something I'll never get back, but then you kind of like assume in the back of your head, but I will get it back. It's like a weird, kind of conundrum there.
Disconnect.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I need to look into this more. I need to see what this is. So the first place I went to was actually, I just Googled, I forget how Social Security works or something like that. And obviously the government has a website for it, like they do with many things. So I'm just going to read to those on the airwaves here what the official USA.gov website says under About Social Security. It says, what's Social Security? Social Security is a federal government program, replace that with taxpayer-funded program, that provides a source of income for you or your legal dependents, in parentheses, spouse, children, or parents, if you qualify for benefits. You also need a Social Security number to get a job. Then there's a find out how to apply link. Then the next section is how do benefits work and how can I qualify? While you work, you pay Social Security taxes. This tax money goes into a trust fund that pays benefits to those who are currently retired. And I think that's extremely key. Not set aside for you. No, it goes into a trust fund that pays benefits to those who are currently retired, to people with disabilities, and to the surviving spouses and children of workers who have died. Each year you work, you'll get credits to help you become eligible for benefits when it's time for you to retire. And that's got kind of like a find all the benefits here type thing. So that at that point, that's where I went, let me find out what my benefits are. Let me go. So I head over to the Social Security website, go to create an account, try to log in, and it's broken. So it's kind of like the Obamacare website all over again. Yeah. So I was a little disappointed. And then there was another part of the website that's like, you can calculate your estimated Social Security. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me try that piece. Also broken. And then, true to government form, they're like, if you think that's an error that this is broken, you can contact us at this link. And the contact us link was broken as well. So it was just failure after failure after failure, trying to get some information here. So what I was hoping to share with you guys was actually how long I've worked, because I started working at 16 years old. I'm 30 years old now, so I've got 14 years of paying Social Security taxes under my belt. And I was hoping to kind of share with you guys what my future may or may not look like based on the information on their website, but I won't be able to do that with you guys today. So hopefully it's fixed tomorrow or the next day. And I'll pull that up for you guys, because I think it's actually important. I think everybody should go to the Social Security Administration website when it's working and create an account and really look at it, because, and to your point, Bob, yeah, I'm a younger guy. I'm a millennial. A lot of people my age aren't really paying attention to this sort of thing. They're not really thinking about it. And I get the impression from a lot of people, they don't really start thinking about it till they hit like late 40s, early 50s. And then they go,
oh, no question about it. Yours truly included.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people, they look at it and they go, oh yeah, that thing I want to do sometime, retirement. What's that? And I saw a great picture. I wish I had saved it for you guys. It was just a meme, and it said, yeah, I've got all my retirement planned out. I'm ready to go. I'm going to retire tomorrow and live comfortably for 12 hours. So guys, when we come back, I'm going to tell you guys about the Libertarian response to Social Security, because a lot of people have a lot of ideas of what that might look like. I'm going to share with you guys what I think the Libertarian response to Social Security would look like when we come back here on Radio Free New York.
You're listening to the voice of liberty. WYSL. AM 1040 Avon, Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, FM 95.5 Spencerport, and WYSL1040.com everywhere.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Everyone is talking about residual income as a retirement plan. Do you have a residual income plan in place? If not, come to our free seminar on April 25th in Rochester to learn about local residual income opportunities. Go to startrochester.com to sign up for our free seminar. No experience is necessary. Go to startrochester.com and sign up for our free, no obligation seminar. Space is limited to the first 40 people, so sign up now before it fills up. startrochester.com.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect.
Last spot.
The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Radio Free New York on WYSL. AM 1040, FM 92.1, and FM 95.5 West.
All right, guys, we're back here on Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and we're talking about Social Security. Rochester was ranked the slowest Social Security office in the state. I hear rumors that Batavia is really good. I don't know where they land on the list, but Batavia is not too far away. Sounds like they're doing much better than Rochester, from what I'm hearing. So I want to talk a little bit about the Libertarian response to Social Security, because there's a lot of people who say in the Libertarian world, nobody would have Social Security and everybody would go hungry and die when they retire and goofy stuff like that. So before I hit that point, though, I want to read to you guys a quote from Chuck Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, about this article and his response to this. He's thinking that we got to give, $100 million to fix this problem. So he says, if you're not getting your check, or your check doesn't have the right amount, or you're getting less, you shouldn't have to do cartwheels and show up 3 or 4 times at the Social Security office to get what's due to you. You paid in. Now you're entitled to get back. So that's his response. And I agree with a little bit of what he's saying here, because let's talk about what I disagree with at this point, based on what I've read on the Social Security website. It doesn't look like we're actually entitled to get our money back based on what I'm reading. Now, maybe there's in the fine print, there's some entitlements. I'm not actually sure if that's true or not. What it looks like is you pay in and you get credits. And if you're lucky and Social Security is still around, then you get money back. So it's not actually an entitlement from my understanding. But I totally agree that if the expectation is that you should be getting paid, and the expectation is it's a certain dollar amount, and you get the inaccurate amount or you don't get it all, that it shouldn't be a bunch of government bureaucracy to get your money. That I can agree with.
Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme because, obviously it's basically an income deferment plan.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Or tax deferment, I should say. Tax deferment. And when you don't get the money that you've put into it, much less the interest that allegedly is going to accrue on it, then basically it's another example of the government stealing your money. Big shock.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder how that interest that you're supposed to be gaining compares to inflation. So whether or not it really helps you, I don't know. I suspect not. I don't know enough about it, but just like anything else government ran, it's suspect to me. It's probably going to be slow, over budget, and everything else. So what's the libertarian approach? I believe, and I don't speak for all libertarians, I'm just taking this from my perspective, that nobody should be forced into Social Security. I think that's a pretty straightforward thing. We oppose government force. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Nobody could ever have retirement? No, it means if you decided that you wanted to participate in Social Security and let the government manage your money, the way things are today, where we have income tax and we have Social Security Administration, you would have the choice to opt in. You would have the choice to continue to have the government take, 8%, 12% of your paycheck, something like that, I think, is about what it costs. You could do that. But if you didn't want to, you wouldn't be forced to. And you could come up, there could be free market alternatives. So what might that look like? Well, there's already financial firms out there. There's investment firms out there. There's banks with savings accounts out there. You could choose to take that money and we could establish standards, industry standards and local government standards for accounts that match those standards. And you could say, no, you know what? I don't want you, government, to manage my money. I think I can do a better job. I'm going to choose XYZ company. And you do that, and you could still build a retirement. We already have 401ks. We have IRAs. We have simple SEPs. People are already doing this, so why does government have to have their hand in it? Well, the reason government has to have their hand in it, besides control, which Bob brings up all the time, is, the government needs the money. It's too big. They need money. So if we make this change where people could actually opt out and manage their money better, you would see people with better retirements. Now, the argument, and I'll always present the other side, the argument that people say all the time is they will say, yeah, but you know what's going to happen, Andrew? There's going to be people that don't save for retirement. Yeah, that happens now. I mean, you talk to the person that's getting $300 a month on Social Security, that's not livable to begin with, and whether that was their poor planning or life circumstances, that's already happening. The difference is you're forced to participate in it, whether you want to or not. I'm saying you should have the ability to say, I don't want to participate in this. I want to be in charge of my retirement. And I think that if we established appropriate standards, once again, not regulation standards, maybe I'll do a show explaining the difference between the two. You could have your money go basically pre-taxed. And I don't know if Social Security, if you get taxed on that when you withdraw it, do you know?
Yes, you do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, ordinary income.
So it's very similar than to an IRA. Right, and I forget a simple
tax.
IRA.
It's a tax deferral thing.
It's a pre-tax, retirement fund.
And just before the point that you just made recedes too far into the past. So the policy statement, the policy position of the government is we want to provide an incentive for people to plan for the future.
Sure. Yep.
But aren't you doing exactly the opposite? Mm-hmm. If what we're doing is let government just take our money,
sure, yep,
before we even get our hands on it, and now we never even see that, we don't miss it. Are we not just letting government have their way with our money, and we haven't learned a darn thing from it?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
On top of Social Security, how many people are saving for their retirement, unless they work at a place that's big enough to have a 401k?
Yep.
The policy arguments run the opposite way.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, because we talk about on the show all the time how financial literacy is, not in most public schools. So if we talk about
never to be seen.
Yeah, I think we've had maybe a few people comment into the show saying their local school district teaches it, but very, very few from my experience. Certainly not in the city school district where I went. Financial literacy was just non-existent. So if we talk about we want people to have the opportunity to retire, but we don't actually teach them how to save money. And then government
save money. They can't balance a checkbook.
Well, exactly. They don't even know the difference between the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. Now the government's like, well, to fix that, we'll just take your money for you and manage it really poorly. You haven't actually learned how to save. You just know somebody's stealing your money, with the promise that maybe if you're lucky, you'll get it back later. And maybe you'll get a little more out of it than you did. But there's no real certainty to it. That doesn't teach anybody anything. But if you had the decision when you started a new job and your employer hands you the paperwork and you have an option, you have the option to allow the government to manage my retirement, or option B, I manage my retirement and through a list of approved firms with your company, or C, no retirement. Now you have to contemplate, do I want to retire someday? What does that look like? Oh, maybe I should talk to a financial planner. I wonder if any of these companies do that sort of thing, or do I need to go out? Like it now spurs the idea that government isn't doing everything for me and I don't learn. It spurs the idea that, I need to learn about this. And of course, companies, private companies would be offering seminars. They already do. But the idea that they would offer seminars on how to financially plan for your life and stuff like that would just A, build our economy, B, help people actually plan for retirement, I think, at a younger age, and C, get the government out of things it just shouldn't be doing. I don't see anywhere in the Constitution that the founding fathers put together, this is this amendment and the government will make sure you have retirement. It's not there.
Well, what government has done is they've been such a poor steward of our funds. And this comes from a guy who's been paying into Social Security since 1964, that now we have to worry about the about it being bankrupt in the foreseeable future, probably during the time period that I would be using it, and certainly long before you're going to use it, Andrew Hollister. Yep. So why do we want to trust these people? Why do we want to listen to them give us financial advice?
Yeah, I tell you what, and I don't know if I'm sure not everybody feels this way, but the way I personally feel about it, I would, if given the opportunity, I would cut my losses. I would say if I was told I could opt out today, but I would lose everything I paid into it, I would say, take it, but don't touch my money again.
You'd lose it? You'd be okay with that?
If I didn't have to pay into it anymore moving into the future.
Wow.
I would be willing to, because
Pretty generous offer. I'd give that some thought.
Well, the reason is I think that the government does that bad of a job managing it, that if I moved forward from today, I would still be a net positive. Giving up 14 years worth of payments, I think I'd still be a net positive by the time I retire.
Well, you're a good-hearted soul. I have to say, what does government do with money, folks? This is just a threshold question, and not just about Social Security, but about Medicare and everything else. What does government do with your money?
Yeah,
what do they do?
Gets rid of it.
They spend it terribly. They spend it. So how do you think they're going to guarantee you that when the time comes for you to take money out of these entitlement programs, it's going to be there? It's not going to be there.
And that's why I say I'd cut my losses, because I don't think that money's there. I think it's already gone. I think if I said I need a refund, they'd have no way to pay it. But so I think I would negotiate, just don't touch my money ever again. Let me keep it. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a break here on Radio Free New York. And when we come back, we're going to talk about maybe Rochester might see an economic boom, is what people are saying. We'll talk about what that might look like when we come back here on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Everyone is talking about residual income as a retirement plan. Do you have a residual income plan in place? If not, come to our free seminar on April 25th in Rochester to learn about local residual income opportunities. Go to startrochester.com to sign up for our free seminar. No experience is necessary. Go to startrochester.com and sign up for our free, no-obligation seminar. Space is limited to the first 40 people, so sign up now before it fills up. startrochester.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a true
last spot
solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York
on the WYSL stations.
All right. right, guys, we are back here on Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and just kind of going through here, looking at the comments. Want to welcome a whole bunch more of you to the show. Evan, Jonathan, Mike, Dan, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Johnny Smith, I don't know if that's Johnny's real name or not, but you know, we got John Smith in the chat room here. So, guys, welcome to the show. Over the break, we actually had somebody call in, Louis from Nun Day, and he didn't have time to stick on air, but he left us with a quote that I hear all the time, which is, government doesn't create wealth, it takes it. And Louis, I can't agree more. And that's actually a perfect segue into what I want to talk about, because there's kind of some media interest being generated right now around the city of Rochester, where we have an MIT economics professor mentioning that Rochester is one of the cities in the U.S. that's going to see a lot of economic growth. And then we've got another guy who just wrote a book and mentioned Rochester as a place. Oh, actually, it's the same guy. Look at that. So he's just getting a lot of media coverage day after day. He wrote a book about where he thinks that Rochester is going to see a big tech boom as well. And I want to talk about this because it's kind of because of government policy, but it's not. And I'll explain why to you guys. The reason why is because of government, Rochester is doing so bad right now. And that's really what's going on here. It's not that Rochester's doing so good that this is going to be some like exploding boom and, you know, an economic paradise. No, it's because we're already ranked third for childhood poverty in the nation. We have 56% of the children in the city of Rochester living below the poverty line. And what we have is we have the city of Rochester ranked 12th in the nation and second in the state for overall poverty. So when we look at some of this stuff, it's because we're at rock bottom right now. So the only place you can go is up. You know, it's not so many, you know, if you look at childhood poverty, we're at 56%. First and second place are tied at 58%. You know, so we're really, really at the bottom already. So the idea that, you know, there's going to be an economic explosion, that could be like 20 jobs, you know, and then
climbing back towards zero. Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to start with that because we've got some serious issues in the city. And this guy here, let me pull up his name, Jonathan Gruber. I wonder if he's related to Mitch Gruber, who's on city council in Rochester. It'd be
Jonathan Gruber, isn't he the guy that commented about the Democrats and Obamacare?
I don't know.
If it's the same Jonathan Gruber, I know that's the name. He's the guy that said, well, you know, what we're going to have to do is just lie to people about being able to keep your doctorate.
Oh, about your doctor.
Jonathan Gruber.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if this is the same guy or not, but there is a Mitch Gruber on city council in Rochester. I don't know if they're related or not. But he actually has some pretty telling things that he puts in this book. He also says, so he says that Rochester is posed to have a big economic boom and also a tech hub in the tech industry, which, you know, I'm everything tech. I love tech. That's what I do. That's my day job. And I don't disagree with him. Rochester actually could become a tech hub. But I say could, and an emphasis on could, because government's got to get out of the way if we want to see that happen. Our regulations have got to be loosened up. Our taxes have to loosen up, because here's the thing about tech, you know, especially if you run like a SaaS company, a software as a service, you provide some type of app, you can be based anywhere in the country. And where are you going to choose? You're going to choose to go in the country with a place that has good talent and low taxes. Those are the things you're going to look for. And to that end, look at Amazon. You know, Buffalo and Rochester tried to do this joint Amazon project to get Amazon HQ to come up here. And they said, you can't keep your people. So why would we come here? I mean, that's literally what they said. They said, you don't have enough talent for us. And everybody looks at Rochester and says, we have great talent. What do you mean? And they're like, you can't keep them. They keep leaving. So for Amazon, that was a big deal. Any other tech industry, like, they're going to say the same thing. So here's a quote from him. He says, if Rochester is really going to become a technology hub like it was in the heyday of Kodak, companies need to want to start and stay. So that's something we have the startup thing here in Rochester already. We've got RIT. They've got their incubator projects. So, yeah, people come. Maybe they get a subsidy. They get some tax breaks. They get some assistance from one of the universities. And then when they start rolling, the investors go, oh, wait a minute. What? We can't afford those taxes. No. You know what sounds good? Florida sounds good, or some other state. Carolina,
Mississippi. And I just don't think any of that stuff works. I don't think any of those. My personal conviction is all these incubators and tax programs and incentives and everything are basically programs designed to make politicians look like they're doing something.
Sure.
So they can point to them and say, oh, look, we established this. Yeah, well, what's been the effect on the local economy?
Yeah.
The only thing that spurs real permanent growth is cutting taxes and cutting government.
Yeah.
The economy is a pie. Okay? It's just a pie. The bigger the piece you cut out of it for the public sector, the less there is for the private sector.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I would agree with that. And I would say the incubator projects are probably successful, but not for the local economy. I think they're successful in terms of like investors. Sure, they get those subsidies, they get a trained workforce, and then they move them elsewhere. So good for them, not good for the local economy. I'd agree there. And so here's another quote from Gruber. He says, it's a matter of keeping them here and getting them to buy into the vision that the days of success that came with companies like Kodak and Xerox could circle back again.
Well, great. Tell us something we don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just a statement of a truism. Yep. How specifically do you propose to get that done?
Yeah.
And it's gonna take some unpopular choices. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the cutting of subsidies. It's going to be the cutting of what are generically called services out there, sure, which I think most of which is crap. People would gladly do without them if they're even aware of them at all.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, we literally have an anti-poverty initiative program whose purpose is, or one of them, I'm not sure if it's their sole purpose, is letting poor people know what the services are that they have access to.
Ridiculous.
And it's like
they should be working.
Yeah. And I'm sure part of that is like, education to work programs or something like that. But to me, I look at, subsidies in general, and we look at the climate of Rochester. And I'm not talking about the weather, guys. I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking taxes, regulations, barriers to entry. If we take that stuff and dial it back, let's just look at a state that works. Let's look at Florida, look at the Carolinas, where people are going to.
Texas.
And just match what they're doing. Just copy and paste.
Texas
and
created
try it for a year or two.
Half the new jobs in the country in Texas last year.
Yeah, and their taxes, ironically, their personal income taxes aren't so far off from New York. It's different by, I think it was $1,500 a year. In comparison to some other states where it was much larger. So you look at that and you go, wow, is $1,500 a year just a giant sum of money for people, which it's a lot of money, or is it also regulations and licensing and all these little gotcha things, and you look at it and go, yeah, it's everything. All of that stuff combined, people are willing to go somewhere where maybe the taxes aren't so great, if they can get a job, if they can get a decent income, if the regulations aren't so bad, if your liberties aren't so trampled on, yeah, maybe they'd put up with higher taxes. But the fact that you have all of them makes it totally unbearable. So I love the idea that Rochester is going to do better. And I think that, by accident that could happen because they're doing so bad right now. But I really think that we need to push people to say, Now, we can't just do better by accident. It can't be like the city school district where they're like, graduation rates have raised by 0.5%. It's still below 50% graduation rate. That's not a success. Let's look where success is. Let's start modeling ourselves after success. And if you look across the country, you get rid of things like subsidies where you pick winners and losers. Stop taking money out of my pocket and putting it into some other guy's pocket for him to stay here just long enough for that money to run out before he skips on to the next place that's going to give it to him. And I hear that from elected officials all the time. Well, we got to play the game if we want the business. No, you don't. No, you don't. You could just choose to lower regulations, eliminate those barriers to entry. And some of them don't have control over taxes, so I understand that's like a pain point. And in certain like local government positions, you don't have say over that because it's unfunded mandates from Albany. But there's other places like licensing and fees and stuff like that can definitely be adjusted and made better. So that's my piece on that. I'll tell you what, guys. I had something here that I wanted to cover with you guys that we're just not going to have time for. Because Mayor Lovely Warren, while we're talking about the city of Rochester, responded to Trump's tweet, which we talked about, I think it was last show or the show before, where Trump said, we're going to take all the illegal immigrants and drop them in sanctuary cities where you want them. And Mayor Lovely Warren said, yep, send them. We'll take them.
Thanks.
So
that's great.
yeah. So we'll talk about that on Friday, guys. We'll talk about the city's response, the mayor's response, and then the nonprofits who'd had to deal with it, their response on Radio Free New York. I'll catch you guys Friday.
This is an exclusive offer from Patrick Buick GMC. Save up to $9,000 on a new 18 Buick Encore. $9,000 for anyone with a non-GM vehicle in their household. Or save up to $10,000 on a new 18 Buick Tourex all-wheel drive. $10,000 with a competitive lease in your household. And now, save $11,000 on a new Buick Enclave all-wheel drive. $11,000. Everyone qualifies. Save $9,000 on a $26,000 on